How you doing out there, Olivia? My name is Krem, and I'm the Director of Fitness, and I want to welcome you to today's Mastering Form workout. The Mastering Form workout series is meant to be able to take you through some exercises that you can do safely and properly. And make sure that you're doing the moves in a way that not only is helping you kind of adjust and develop the body the way you want, but again, making sure that you're doing them well and you're doing them safely, because that's the most important part when you're thinking about exercise is safety and proper form. So we've gone through a lot of different types of exercises together. I've introduced some different types of exercise pieces of equipment for you too. And I want to make sure that no matter what we go through is that you feel like you can do these exercises no matter where you are. So if you're at home, you can do them. If you're at the gym, you can do them. If you happen to be traveling, that you can do them. So that way you have some variety to some exercises, so that way you can always keep moving. So we're going to jump right on in. Before we get started, I always like to remind you, if this is your first time being a part of the Mastering Form workout series, is to always check with your doctor. Always make sure it's a good idea or a good time for you to start some type of movement, which is important. Have water handy. We're going to go at a pace that's nice and steady. This is meant for more educational, more tutorial, so the pace won't be quick, but you want to make sure that you have water with you all the time. So no different than anything other. So let's go ahead and dive into what we're going to go through today. I know you're kind of wondering what exercises I'm going to show you, and I always like to kind of throw in exercises you can do from top to bottom. So we've got some upper body today, we've got some lower body, and we've got some core. I like to kind of keep that going so you feel like no matter how much time you got, you can kind of get in a real full body workout. So let's do it. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to do what's called a Sumo deadlift squat with dumbbells, okay? Now, even though I'm going to be using some dumbbells in this move, you can utilize water bottles, you can use cans, you can use anything where you can have basically the same amount of weight in both hands. So you don't have to feel like you need to have dumbbells. You can absolutely do this with nothing at all, just your body weight, okay? But I'm going to use some dumbbells just to sort of show you exactly how this move looks. Now, the Sumo deadlift squat, it's a mouthful, I know it's a lot there. It works total body, but you're going to get a lot with your front of the thighs, you're going to get a lot with the back of the thighs. You're also going to get some really good incentives for your back. One of the reasons why I like the Sumo deadlift squat is that it tends to be a little easier on the lower back. If you've got lower back challenges, sometimes squatting can be a little tough to do. You may feel like, it's tough to go, as deep as you want, or maybe it's tough to go heavy with weights the way you want. So the Sumo deadlift tends to be a little bit easier on the lower back. So that's one of the things that I really like about it. And if you're trying to build power or strength, or you want to maybe be able to lift heavier loads, a Sumo deadlift squat allows for that too, based on just the different positioning that you have, which we'll get into. Now, you can do this move, like I said, with, just household items. You can use it with your body weight. You can also do it with barbell. So there's a lot of different things you can use it with, but I'm going to use dumbbells with this. So let's jump on into it. Now, the key thing with the Sumo deadlift squat is the leg position. And probably you guessed it, Sumo, wide leg, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. So I want to have a very wide stance. Normally with squats, I'm about hip width or shoulder width apart. So you see by widening my legs this way, it's pretty untraditional. So that's more of that Sumo type of movement. Now, since I'm using the dumbbells, I want to make sure, whether it was a barbell or if I'm using cans or water, I need to make sure that my arms or my elbows are going to go in between my legs. My toes are pointed forward, okay? There are variations between kind of turning your toes out for squats, but we're going to keep my toes pointed forward, and I want to think about my shins being sort of perpendicular to the floor, all right? Stomach is tight, back is straight, and I'm going to drop my hips. I'm hinging my hips back and dropping straight down, just like so. And I want to come all the way up. And because that weight is distributed more so in the middle, I can actually lift more if that was my goal, right? And I'm pushing my way through. Now, even with this type of squat, it's very important that my knees don't go beyond my toes. And what I mean by that is I want to avoid doing this, right? So you see how my heel is coming off the floor, my knees are going forward. I don't want to do that because I don't want to put pressure on my knees. So I still have to make sure that I'm dropping my hips back and dropping down. So I'm hinging backwards and I'm straight down. There we go. Stomach is tight. Back is straight. Driving through the heels. And my arms are in. Super important for my arms to be in. Okay? Now, one of the reasons why I can lift heavier with this too is because with a traditional squat, when my legs are about hip width apart, shoulder width apart, I rely on this a lot. So the weight is more on the outside, and you notice that my back goes down, hinges forward a lot more. So that's another reason why it may be tougher to have heavier weights with a traditional squat than with the sumo squat, where the weight is distributed more throughout the legs, and I'm going straight down, but my back is in a more safer position, which is great for someone with lower back challenges. There we go. Okay, so that's the sumo deadlift squat. I love that one. Love that one. It's just, again, great for the legs, front of the legs, back of the legs. You're gonna get some back in there too, but back, you're gonna work the back muscles in a really safe way. So it's a good exercise if you're kind of a beginner to squats, or you're someone who wants to build power. You really wanna develop some strength and power with your squats. So I really like that one. Okay. So the next one we're gonna do is called a dumbbell pullover. Dumbbell pullovers work the chest and the back. Sometimes we think that, we, especially as women, maybe we may not want to work the chest or the back as much. And those are really good, important exercises to do because it works with that, that pushing and pulling, which is important. It also helps when you bring things to you, which is important to do. And it really helps to protect your spine when you have a strong back. Now protect your core. So it's important to engage, muscles and engage in exercises that develop the chest and the back. So dumbbell pullover is a great one. Again, if you don't have a dumbbell, use a can, water bottle, just something that has some weight to it. And you want to make sure you choose a weight with this one that's light for you, because we're going to go over our head. So if you're not accustomed to doing this exercise, start with a lighter weight. Now, this can be done on a bench or even a stability ball. And you can even do this on the floor. So if you don't have a stability ball, you don't have maybe like an ottoman at home, like more of a firmer ottoman or a bench, you can always hit the floor with this. So I'm going to show you in the ball. And I want to make it to where my shoulders and my head are lying on the ball. So I'm lying flat. I have my dumbbell, just like so. And depending on, some people like to hold it differently. If you're doing 2 dumbbells, which you can absolutely do, you're going to hold it palm to palm. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you that way, where we have 2. Because that's probably what you'll encounter the most. All right. So my body is holding up the ball, or my hips and my thighs are nice and straight, holding up. I want to start here with my palms together, and I'm going to go straight back. And when I go back, it's important not to go below my head, okay? If I go below my head, that's too far, and that's not a good position for my shoulders. And I come to where I start. Behind, and back to where I started. I want to engage my core. So my stomach muscles, I want them to be tight. So I'm going to pull my stomach muscles into the ball or into the floor. And when I bring it forward and I bring it back, I should feel my chest stretching as well as my back. Right in between both shoulder blades, also between the sort of wing area of the back. Just like so. And that's a pullover. You don't want to go down too far, so just to where you started, right level with that chest. And pull, bring it. Make sure you breathe, don't hold your breath, and don't go past your head. So sometimes you may want to go past your head, but again, it's not safe to do with your shoulders. So just to your head and here, and then down. If you wanted to do this with just one dumbbell, same rule applies. So I can start with here, go behind, and bring it back. And you're going to get a little bit of the back of the arms in here too. So that's a good thing. You're also working a little bit of the back of the arms. Head, and up. Okay, awesome. So that's the dumbbell pullover for you, okay? It works the chest, it works the back. Just remember, don't bring that dumbbell past your head, which is really important. All right. Now we're gonna move on to the side, to working more of the core itself. Okay, we're gonna do what's called a plank. We're gonna do a side plank. Now, there's tons of planks, many different types of planks, and planks are a really great exercise to do for the core and the back. The side plank is really helpful to do. It's an easy exercise. If you think about sort of, considered advanced, this is more on the easier side for some people to be able to do compared to some other exercises. And it's a good exercise that really targets this part of the stomach or the core. So more of the side. So you'll get this part, but you'll also get a lot of this, which is good for. And it's important to help really work your core, your back, because it helps with trunk rotation, it helps with protection of the spine. So it's a really great to do exercises that really help to reinforce those muscles. So with the side plank, what we want to make sure we do is I want my body to be perfectly straight. I want to avoid my legs being forward, my legs being back, and I got to make sure that I am my elbow directly under my shoulder. I don't want my elbow out here. That's really not a safe position for the shoulder. So I have to have my elbow and shoulder directly underneath. This hand can be wherever you want it to be. Some people like to move it up, some like to put it on their hip. It's just really up to you, okay? But you want to make sure that you're lifting your hips straight off the floor, okay? So, and that your hips don't sag when you lift up. All right, so I'm gonna lift up, and I wanna lift and hold as long as I can. I wanna avoid leaning over, and I wanna be straight up. So hand here or here, doesn't matter. And you're gonna feel that and those side muscles in the stomach. Now let's say you said, well, that's a bit tough for me to hold that position. You can absolutely modify this. That's one of the reasons why I like this exercise. So you can bend your knees, hand up if this is what you prefer, and lift. That's right. And when I mention sagging hips, is I don't want to have my hips down. I need to lift up. I need this to all be straight. Just like that. And let's say, for instance, even having your knees bent was a little bit tough. You can take this other hand and just start here. But avoid rotating, okay? Avoid rotating towards the floor. But if you feel like you need a little support from a balance standpoint, just put that hand here. Now, if you have suffered from shoulder issues, arm issues, or core issues, then doing a side plank is definitely one that I would avoid, because there's a lot of pressure on the shoulder when you're doing the plank. Whether or not you're doing it straight up, just with your legs straight, or your knees bent. If you've got shoulder issues, it's not going to feel really good. But planks are a great exercise to include. Side plank is some really good variation to really work the core, but absolutely right there on the sides, okay? Good. All right, now we're gonna stay with the stomach area, and we're gonna do what's called a lying windshield wiper. Now, this is another exercise that I wanted to focus on here, because we do a lot of exercises that focus primarily here in this part, but not a ton here. So I wanted to show you two today that really hits that area a lot. So this is going to really kind of work that. You're going to want to do this on the floor, someplace soft, just like when you were doing your side plank, so someplace soft. And I'm going to show you two variations of it. All right, so this one here, I want to have my arms out straight. because my arms are my base. So my arms have got to really sort of be out and kind of hold me to the ground. I'm going to lift my legs as straight up as I can, and I want to think about windshield wiping. My legs are going to come to the sides, and I want to try to keep my hips down to the floor. So what I want to do is I want to try to avoid this, okay, where my body completely turns over at that point. Now, easier said than done, but depending on the strength that I have here in my core and on the sides will depend on how low I can get and bring my legs back over to the other side. Lift, and I'm windshield wiping. Now, until you get stronger in this area, you may only be able to go to here. If you're able to go lower, like so, great, but that's going to take some time. Now let's say, for instance, that's just difficult. You say, Krim, I can't keep my legs straight. No problem. Start with your knees bent. This will help out. This will make it a little bit easier. And I windshield wiper from side to side. Just to show you what this looks like this way. Arms are straight. Knees are bent. And I'm rotating. And as I rotate, as you're rotating, you should feel that pulling right down the sides. Notice my hips are still down. And I rotate to the other side. Hips are down. Rotate. Don't hold your breath. Breathe. Rotate. Lift. Rotate. My legs are straight. Same thing. Lift. Harder to do. Rotate. And so on. Okay. Windshield wipers. Line windshield wipers. Great for here. You should be feeling that there for sure. Stomach, yes. Definitely along sides. Those are two exercises that I really, really love to do that kind of target that area there. So the key is to have some variety. No matter what your exercise routine consists of, have some variety, have some different exercises, but absolutely number one, make sure you're learning them properly and that you are doing them safely. So that way you can develop the way you want, but you can also make sure you're less likely to injure any area if you're learning the proper form. So I hope you enjoyed today's Mastering Form workout series. If you had any questions about any of these 4 exercises, please let me know. You can email me directly at fitness@lydia.com. Or if there's a specific exercise you have a question about, an exercise that you want to see, just send me an email and I'll gladly review it for you and go through it with you. So, it's always good to kind of keep those fresh ideas in mind. But I hope you join me for the next Mastering Form. I hope you're picking up some really good technique on some of these movements. I can't wait to show you some new ones next time.